Hello there, what's up? Commando here. Welcome to my Clash of Champions 2016 predictions video. I thought my thing just froze there. It sort of went a bit weird. I didn't know if it was recording, but it is. We're at Clash of Champions, and yes, this is now the 2 pay-per-views a month thing. We spoke about this before. It's a pile of crap. We don't need to get into it again. Let's just get straight to the matches. First off, on the pre-show is Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax. I was kind of surprised to see that announced and on the pre-show. I'm not against it, but just kind of surprised. My only thing was there was no build to it this week. They were doing some good build before, and then this week they just announced that the match was going to be on the pre-show, and that was it. Because when the show was over, and then I was looking at the Fallout videos and all that stuff, and then I was like, oh, there was nothing for bloody the Nia Jax thing. I thought that was odd, very odd. But the build was going, I thought it was going alright. Nia Jax destroyed Alicia Fox's friend, Anne or something they called her. It wasn't her real name. And then Alicia Fox was going crazy. She slapped a box off of Nia Jax's face. That probably would have hurt. And then Nia Jax slammed her into a table. And then the following week, I think it was when they did the smashing through the barricade, which I thought was an awesome moment. Thought that was very, very cool. But yeah, it was going alright. I was just surprised to see nothing this week. But I think Nia Jax will win. But I hope it's not just a straight up squash match. I'd like it to, for Alicia to get in some offense. Obviously, Nia should win, but it would be good for Alicia to get in some offense and seem a bit believable as a competitor, I guess. But yeah, I'll go with Nia Jax for the win. But hopefully it's not a straight up squash. I just watched NXT. I don't get NXT watched till today now. And even though you can tell who's going to win a match, the match is at least back and forth, and it's not a straight up squash, which is good. Hopefully they can do the same thing here. Yes, Nia Jax the win. Next we have Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship. Now I just don't think there's been enough build to this. When Raw was happening this week and it was the whole cage match thing with Owens and Reigns, I was like, is there really going to be nothing else to build to this? And now obviously, Rollins came in and dived off the cage onto Rusev and Kevin Owens, awesome moment, but I just don't think there's been enough build to this. This should be a big deal. This match should be a big deal. I'm sure it's a dream match for a lot of people, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, but I just don't think there's been enough build to it, in my opinion. Could still be a great match, but I just feel like there should have been a lot more, and a lot of people are saying that Triple H will interfere and help Owens win or cost Rollins the match or something. Whatever happens, I think I'm okay with it. I'm happy with interference and stuff. That's how wrestling works. It happened all the time in the beloved Attitude Era, but it happens now. Smarks be crying. But yeah, I'll go with Kevin Owens for the win. Moving on, we have the New Day versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Hopefully Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson win. I think the New Day's been getting a bit stale, a bit bland lately, to be honest. I still like them. It's not like I don't like them, like Enzo and Cass. I still like the New Day. They haven't been doing as many entertaining things lately, I feel. The only thing I can really remember in the last while is when bloody Big E had bootios in his wrestling boots. Gross. And was pouring it into bowls and giving it to the fans as he made his way to the ring. I was like, that's so freaking gross. And people were actually eating it. I was like, that's just wrong. That's just not meant to happen. But yeah, they haven't really been that entertaining lately. And then there was that stupid old day segment with Gallows and Anderson. It was pretty terrible. I liked the build to SummerSlam, with the whole ball thing, all those ball innuendos or whatever. And I kind of liked the old folks thing. I thought it was kind of funny, but it just seemed like they were going in the right direction, but it didn't go didn't do it right. I feel like it was going okay. It just wasn't done right. It could have been done right, but it wasn't. I think people are saying it was like a bad porno or something, like when Dana Brooke was there involved with them and stuff. But yeah, the last while hasn't been good, and they always say, oh, bloody Michael Cole always goes on about them, like, oh, they were great in Japan, they were great this, they did, they're bloody 3-time IWGP champions or something, and they go on and on about that. I'm like, yeah, but look at them now, and you're just treating them like shit, like they're only allowed to do like a couple moves. You go on like they're these bloody killers and they're amazing, but we don't get to see it. Like Carl Anderson, only move he's got is a bloody spinebuster. That's it. The rest is rest holds or a punch. Gallows, a big boot, a couple punches, and then the tag team move, the bloody, I can't even remember what it's called, Magic Killer. That's it. We don't see enough from them. They're too bloody restricted. Like they go on how they're trying to put them over as the greatest thing ever, but then we don't actually get to see anything from them. How are we supposed to believe these guys are great? Like they came in with so much hype and people were jizzing over them, and we don't get to see anything. How are we supposed to? No wonder people shit on them, because you're treating them like shit. You're not letting them be what made them, popular. So maybe that'll change. I don't know. I have my doubts. But I'd like to see Luke Gallows on that win. New Day have been champions long enough. It's time for a change. Hopefully they can win. Next, we have Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the Raw Women's Championship Triple Threat. I liked when they did the Triple Threat thing with Bayley and Sasha and Dana, and Sasha won via, like the double pin thing. Like, I watched that in the morning before I went to work. I just got finished that match, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I'm interested to see how they follow this up when I get home. They didn't. They didn't say anything until a week later, and then they announced it was going to be Sasha and Bayley. But I did like that week when, that would have been last week, when Dana sort of slapped Charlotte. I thought, oh, it's like when Charlotte kept treating her like crap and slapping her and what have you. I thought, oh, Dana's going to have to turn at some point. She's going to have to. She can't take this shit much longer, and eventually she did slap her, but she's now back to sort of being her bitch. But I'll see it eventually. She'll turn on her eventually, full on. Maybe cost her this match, then a Charlotte Dana feud, and then Sasha Bayley feud. Although that would mean 2 women's feuds on Raw. Come on now, we know that's not possible. So I don't know who's gonna win this one. I could maybe. Like I said, I could see Dana costing Charlotte the match, but she just won the title, so I don't know. But I don't think Charlotte should be champion right now. She just been champion long enough. Give it to someone else, but they insist on these long ass title reigns or giving Charlotte the title back after a month. I've spoken about it before. It's a waste of time going into it again. I'll go with Charlotte, but I think it'll be a good match. Triple threat. Those 3, it could be a great match. So yeah. Next, Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho has just been killing it, absolutely killing it with the lately with this heel persona. Is just perfect, absolutely hilarious. I love it. The gift of Jericho. I'm drinking it in, man, and it is good. And the list of Jericho thing this week was funny. Listing off all of Mick Foley's like bad points as a GM, and then he was calling everyone a stupid idiot. He changed it to a list of stupid idiots because everybody interrupted him. New Day, Shining Stars, Enzo and Cass, Luke Gallows and all them guys. He called them all stupid idiots, and then it led to a tag match, 10-man. But Sami Zayn was in there too. Yeah, that's right. But the week before, when they sort of started the feud, I guess, was the highlight reel, and Jericho smacked Sami Zayn in the face with a phone, and then codebreakered him. I thought that was cool. Not a whole lot of build, but what there has been, it's been good. I'd like to see Sami Zayn win. I think it'd be good. Maybe like a roll up out of nowhere type of thing or something. But I could see Jericho winning. Because he's been on a roll lately. But honestly, he could lose and then he could just come out the next night and just keep doing his thing, and he'd still be as over as ever. So I think Sami Zayn should win it. Chris Jericho wouldn't lose anything from a loss. 'Cause he's just doing amazing things right now. So I'm gonna go Sami Zayn, and it could be a great match. Could be. I hope it isn't a rest hold fest, because it could be that as well. But I hope not. I'll go with Sami Zayn. Next, I'm surprised to see this one down so far on the old Wikipedia. Is Rusev versus Roman Reigns for the US title. And Roman Reigns didn't do anything to earn this championship match. A bit like Ziggler on SmackDown, the whole IC title thing. Bit odd, if you ask me. Just sort of giving titles away, really. Title shots away. There was something like that about when Rollins got the title, or something on this week's Raw. Somebody said the title's pretty much a consolation prize, I think was the word the guy used. I can't really remember what he was going on about. I just seen it on a wrestling site. I thought it was, I can't remember what it was on about, but they were saying something along those lines. Because they keep having all these like number one contender matches and stuff. And so speaking about that, I hate how Rusev is in these number one contender things and takes the pin or is losing all the time. It's just making the title, US title, look like crap. It's like a few years ago when Cesaro was US champion. I think it was Wade Barrett was Intercontinental champion, and they lost every single week to Randy Orton and Sheamus, and I think Sandow was one of the guys that was getting beat by them as well. It was either they'd lose on Raw, or they'd lose on Main Event, or they'd lose on SmackDown. And it happened every single week. It's almost getting to that point with Rusev where they're just treating the title like shit. That's just not how you should be doing it. You shouldn't put him in these matches and have him taking the pin or what have you. It's just doesn't make sense. And he's always in these number one contender things, and then he loses. It's stupid, so stupid. But he hasn't barely even been on WWE the last while. 'Cause he's been away, bloody on his 17 weddings with Lana and honeymoons and all that shit. But he returned last week after pulling a Jericho on Twitter and that, saying he was away, but he wasn't. And he attacked Reigns, cost them the match. I think that was it was if Reigns was going to get into the triple threat thing, yeah. But this week there was the cage thing, but that was about it really. There hasn't been a whole lot of build to this match really. I just don't like how they just gave Reigns the title shot. I just don't think that's how it should be done. But Reigns, I think, will likely win. I don't see Rusev winning. It would honestly be a shock if he won, especially if he won clean, or if he made Reigns tap out, which I don't see that. I don't see that. So I'm just going to go with Reigns, but I honestly don't see Rusev winning. If it is, it'll be some interference, some shenanigans, something along those lines, in my opinion. So next we have Cesaro versus Sheamus in the final match of the Best of 7 series. Cesaro came back. I don't think they should have just went straight up Sheamus winning 3 and then Cesaro winning 3. I think they should have maybe mixed it up a bit, like maybe Sheamus wins 2, then Cesaro wins 1, Sheamus wins 1, and Cesaro wins 2. They should have done something a little bit different, just a little bit predictable, but what happened. The matches have been alright, but they haven't been great, you know. They've been okay, but they haven't been great or memorable, in my opinion. The only thing I really remember is when Cesaro did the rope pin thing. I thought that was pretty cool. That's really the only thing I remember about this whole series. Or when he jumped off of the post at SummerSlam. That's the only thing I really remember about this thing. So I'm hoping Cesaro wins. It would make no sense for Sheamus to win. Unless they do maybe a storyline where Cesaro is fed up and goes to SmackDown. I could see that happening. That would be kind of good. If not, I think Cesaro should win. Sheamus has had his title shots, his title reigns. Give it to Cesaro, give him a chance. I think it should be for the Universal title. You know, it's this whole thing. It would make no sense for it to end up just being for the US title. All these bloody matches just for that. I say it should be for a Universal title shot. That's my opinion. Even if it just happens on Raw or one of the bloody 17 pay-per-views a month, wherever it happens, I think it should be for the Universal title. But yeah, Cesaro for the win. Cesaro hasn't really, like a year or two ago, he was like really hot and he was putting on loads of great matches and he had loads of great moves in these matches. He's been kind of, simmering a bit lately, I guess. Simmering down, is that the right word? He hasn't really been as hot with it. Typical WWE failing to capture on someone's momentum. But yeah, hopefully things change. I like that whole SmackDown thing. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Jack Swagger went to SmackDown. Now a lot of people don't really care about him, but if had they not treated him like shit for the last few years, maybe they would. But next and finally we have T.J. Perkins versus Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight Championship. This just announced this week. Where Brian Kendrick won a Fatal 4-Way over Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann, and Gran Metalik. Yep. My only issue with that Fatal 4-Way, while the action was good, it seemed like they were being held down. Like it felt really slow. In my opinion, like I say, the action was good, the moves that were happening was good, but it was very slow. It was like they were being held back. That was my only thing. Like people were like, "Oh my god, this is awesome," blah blah blah, and there were so many idiots in the crowd. Well, not so many, but a few, like a select few, and they were like fight forever. But you could only hear like a few of them. I'm like, come on, it's not. I hate it when people do that, when they do stupid chants like that, when there's nothing actually really happening that's amazing. They're just trying to get attention. It's the same on NXT. I was just watching it and you hear just like the odd one or two people just chanting a couple of stupid things. It's just like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, it was it was a good match, it just felt very slow. Brian Kendrick eventually won. I think that seems like the best sort of way to go. He's sort of like healing it up lately. Him versus T.J. Perkins, hopefully it could be a great match. But I don't see Brian winning. I don't think that would be a good way to go. TJ just won it. He hasn't even defended it. I think TJ should win and hopefully be a good match. And also, speaking of the Cruiserweights, they're also on like a main event as well. At least they were this week. Rich Swann faced Lindsay Dorado. Like I was kind of pissed off yesterday, and then I started watching main event, and then Rich Swann's theme song comes on, and I was okay. I love that song. It's just so good. I've listened to it a few times. It's just an amazing song. I love it. But yeah, that's it for the pay-per-view. There's 8 matches, the same as Backlash. I checked last night when I was. I just had a check. I thought, I wonder if it's the same amount of matches, and it is. So yeah, even Steven. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. There's no more news or anything like that in the wrestling world. There was a thing where I was reading about Vince being happy with, or he's high on Randy Orton right now. He's saying that he's praised Orton for taking the beating like a pro from Lesnar and not complaining about how brutal it was. Okay, and he says Vince came up with the finish to protect Orton and not have him get pinned. Protect him. Okay, just bust his skull open and give him a concussion and what have you. But okay, and it's saying that if this could lead to Orton possibly getting a world title run. No. But the SmackDown title picture is pretty crowded for the next few months, so it's unlikely. I don't think Orton needs to be world champion again. I don't know really what Orton's role could be. I mean, I have a match for the world title with AJ or something. I don't think he really needs to be world champion again. We've seen it so many times. I don't think it needs to happen. Speaking of Orton, the whole Bray Wyatt thing, I don't know what they're gonna do there. Like this week's SmackDown was odd. They changed the format of it. Usually it was like lots of shorter segments and with more people, but there was a few matches that lasted kind of long, and it was at times it was kind of boring, to be honest. And I really have been liking SmackDown. There was times when it was a bit boring, but it was okay. But I think they should stick to the format before, because I thought that was just perfect. Like, I actually kind of enjoyed Raw a bit more. I got bored during the main event, as I always do, because it's just too long. But I was actually into the show like for the entire thing, really. Whereas SmackDown, I was quite bored at times, or a lot of it, really. Um, but yeah, the highlight for me of SmackDown was the Talking Smack thing when Dean Ambrose was just going nuts on everybody, on Cena, on AJ. He was just letting rip into them. If you didn't see it, you need to go see it. He was just going wild on them all. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he got in trouble for the things he was saying. Like, it was pretty wild stuff. Definitely worth checking out if you didn't see it. But yep, that's it for now. There's nothing else to talk about. Clash of Champions is done. And I only had NXT to watch this week, so that's good. Last week, I didn't like last week with the Cruiserweight Classic. It was just too much. Even though it was the matches and that was good in the show, it was too much. I don't like having loads of wrestling to watch. Like, I like the Cruiserweight Classic. The only match I didn't. It was still a good match, but I didn't think it was as good as the others. Was the final match between TJ and Gran Metalik? Still a good match. I'm not saying it was a bad match, but I felt the other matches were better, especially the tag match. I thought the tag match was really good, and the other two were good as well. I thought that one was good. I just felt the other ones were better. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Share, subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you for my review on Sunday. Or Monday, whenever the hell it is. I don't know. It's weird. This week, last week I got more sleep with being up all night for Backlash than this week. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong, but I had a bad sleep this schedule this week. Like Sunday I couldn't get to sleep. I wasn't sleeping like 2:30, and the rest of the week it was about between 1:30, 2:00 almost every night. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong, but hopefully that's not the same for this coming week. Yeah, that's it. See ya.